Coming to you live on location, this is the Between the Benches podcast, where we will discuss anything and everything hockey related. Let's drop the puck and get the action underway.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Between the Benches podcast. As always, it's your host, Dak. Hope everybody is enjoying their evening or day whenever they're checking out this episode. We are brought to you by Old City Sports Network. Make sure to check out oldcitysports.com for all your favorite podcast articles, blogs, and more. Make sure to use the promo code OldCity for 15% off site-wide on the merch store. We also have our Between the Benches merch store. I don't have my hoodie on or my sweatshirt that I had for draft night, but we do have our merch up on our Instagram. If you click on our links, it's in the fourth wall. And, yeah, I'm joined by my esteemed Canadian colleague, Big Canada Daddy, Brock Finch. How are we?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It's been a day. It's been a night. We're recording on the eve of free agency, and let's just say shit hit the fan tonight, and we got a lot to talk about. So I'm happy to be here to, conduct the conversation.
Yeah, we do have a lot to talk about. We had DrewDekes join us as well to kind of recap the Noah Dobson situation, which will come out a little bit later on this episode. But to your point, we've had a lot of news happen in the last couple hours. So let's go around the rink, shall we?
Let's.
All right, and Around the Rink is brought to you by IronSteelThreads.com. Make sure to check out IronSteelThreads.com for all their great hoodies, shirts, and other apparel. They have new designs every month. They're made here in the States, and you can use the promo code OldCity10 for 10% off, and a portion of your proceeds will benefit youth hockey organizations. So the big thing that came out last week, obviously, is we have a new CBA agreement, Brock. Coming out in 2026 is when it's going to take effect. What are some of the big highlights from it?
Well, there's a lot, so strap in here. Interrupt me if you want some clarification, but I'm going to try to hit the spark notes here. So they will be moving to start first. They'll be moving to an 84-game regular season. A lot of people, myself included, really, I don't think we need more regular season games. I'd rather see the play-in playoff games if we're talking from a revenue standpoint, but that's just me. So 84 regular season games, and we'll dip I believe in 2 to 3 preseason games. So less preseason games, more regular season games. That's a plus. That is a win. That's a good thing. Instead of 8 and 7-year max contracts, depending on if it's a team signing contract or a free agency signing contract, will now be dipped 1 year. So the max term you can get in a contract signed by a player with the team is 7, and the highest you can sign as a free agent is now 6. There will also be no more skirting the salary cap in the playoffs with LTIR. They have completely removed this. Though this is one of the main things why they did it in the first place. It's a clear risk to having a player sit for a long time, then miraculously come back to the playoffs. And having said that, it's clearly been a problem. I hesitate to use the word problem, but it's clearly been a problem from the standpoint of, you're over the cap. I get that it's allowed, and I get that LTIR was a way to allow teams that if, for instance, the Colorado Avalanche, Nathan MacKinnon, has a season-ending injury in, say, January, that the Avs don't completely lose a chance at playing for the Cup, where they can go use his money to, improve the team in some capacity to give themselves a chance. But in essence, they felt not in the spirit of the CBA, so they decided to do away with it. A long-winded way of saying there will be salary cap in the playoffs. I believe you can have as many players as you want. You could be over the cap, but the team you ice must be cap compliant. The draft rights will now be easier to understand. I didn't even realize this was a thing, but it's now capped at 22 years old across the board, regardless of where someone had started. So the only exception to this would be if a player, drafted players, plays in college for longer than their 22nd birthday, then the team holds those rights for 30 days after the end of their college career. I, again, didn't even know that was a thing. Thought that was an interesting provision. I wonder how we'll see any effects on that early on. And then this is funny. They're eliminating deferred salary immediately once teams started using it. The big ones being like Jacob Slavin and Seth Jarvis. I think the Tavares deal might even have some deferred salary on it. This is another cap circumvention thing. So it's not surprising that Bettman has completely eliminated it. God,
it's the Shohei Ohtani rule.
Yes, that is kind of funny. I get it, but I No, I get it. It is a way to circumvent the cap, so I get it. The highest signing bonus that can be paid is now 60% of the total deal. I thought this was interesting because at least in terms of calculating the buyout is what it was mentioned as, but I don't think there should be necessarily a way to say when a team can give a player, like what is or what isn't a bonus. And I get like it affects the way the buyouts work. And the NHL standpoint is that you sign a bad contract, they want you to sit in it. So they're trying to make it easier for them to make you sit in it by doing this. So I'll be curious to see how this impacts teams in general. Like it will definitely impact, your more expensive teams like the Leafs and the Rangers, because those teams had more money ostensibly. And now they're going to be forced to get even more creative with how they attract players in a hard cap system. Moving along, teams will be able to hire a full-time e-bug, an emergency backup goalie. That is a wonderful thing. He will literally stay and travel with the team. The David Ayres story was great, but let's be honest, you don't really want that situation happening and deciding, regular season games with implications for teams in the playoffs. Players will also be getting an increase in benefits, so like post-career help, et cetera, insurance and payroll taxes, all that fun stuff. Teams cannot mandate a dress code. I didn't even know that was a thing, which absolutely blew my mind that there was an actual like dress code imposed. And apparently, if you go look, I heard this on a podcast, if you look at the way the rule was written in the previous salary cap, teams could mandate their own dress code. They just wouldn't. They went the traditional route and made everybody wear suits and stuff anyway, which I thought was even more interesting, but that's neither here nor there. The minimum salary will jump $50K each season, ending to $1 million by the 2030 season. So the minimum salary by 2030 will be $1 million. Craziness, but you got to love that. Any player entering the league in 2026, 2027 must wear neck protection. This is, I do believe this is an absolute must. And I do think that any player that's on a contract, or not on a contract, sorry, in the league before that year will be grandfathered in, kind of like the visor rule from one of the previous CBAs. I believe there are only, I think, 3, maybe 4 players left without a visor. I think Ryan O'Reilly's one of them. If you want that as a fun fact, Dalton. The NHL will participate in the 2030 Olympics, as if we need any more confirmation on that forefront, but that's always a good thing. No more fitness tests in the regular season or training camps. I don't really think that that's a note, but it's in there. This is interesting. No more paper transfers to the NHL. If you're demoted, you have to go back and play at least one game before you can come back to the roster. Players wanted this because even though they had to practice with the big club, they were being paid their AHL rate during the paper transaction. With the cap explosion, this shouldn't be needed as much needed as much in the next few seasons, but it takes another, toll on the toll out for the GM. Whatever. It's another thing that GMs can't do. And the Leafs and Carolina Hurricanes did those a ton. Well, I guess every team probably did a ton. Those are just 2 teams I know of for sure. And then European players, this is a funny one. It's, I believe, my last one. The European players aged 25 to 27 will no longer have to sign entry-level contracts when they come to the NHL, which I didn't even know they had to. It's kind of silly. And anyone who thought that would have mattered this year, it wouldn't have with Carolina's Nikishin. He's only 23. But that, I think, covers most of the main points.
Oh, yeah.
I put in a couple of the odd ones for myself to remind myself of how crazy I am when I get into the nitty-gritty. I sometimes like to remind myself I'm a little too detail-oriented. But is there anything in there that didn't make sense, Dalton? Did I cover it all?
No, I think that covers it all. I was looking, too. Since Matt Martin retired, there are now 4 visorless players in the league. You named one. Can you name the other 3?
If you got them in front of you, I'll try.
I do. One of them plays for your team.
Pacioretty?
Nope.
Oh. Old? Plays for my team? Man. See, this one's a tough one for me. I don't know the niche visor ones. Give me a hint.
So he's got the same initials.
As Max Pacioretty?
No, as not Max Pacioretty. He's like, his first initial is his last initial.
Oh. I don't. Alliteration doesn't help me.
Okay, how about Ryan Reeves?
Okay, I should have got that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan Reeves. Yeah. Okay.
The other two, ready? You're going to kick yourself. Jamie Benn,
Yeah, I should have got that.
Zach Bogosian,
Bogosian.
Minnesota Wild. Yeah, he plays for the Wild.
I probably should have got that.
Yeah, and then Ryan O'Reilly. So you have those 4 players left that are visor lists. But yeah, everything else seems to be every pretty ship shape there. I think it all makes sense. I mean, obviously, if we could take away preseason games to get more regular season games, I guess that makes sense at the end of the day.
That's the one that I would quibble with the most personally, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just to recap, that was the CBA. It should take effect in 2026. So we'll go ahead and shift gears here. We're going to talk a little Montreal Canadiens with DrewDekes, and that is going to catch on the other side of this. All right, and we welcome on a very, very, very special guest. It is Mr. Andrew Thompson. You can find him on YouTube at DrewDekes and on X at DrewDekes. How are we doing this evening?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me on. Well, I should have thought about what I was going to say first there. I was pretty jumbled.
No, absolutely. We appreciate you coming on. We were going to have you for our draft spectacular episode, live stream, whatever you want to call it. But unfortunately,
Unfortunately, or fortunately?
Yeah, the Habs had other plans. I don't know. I guess we'll get to that. That's actually, a good point. But the Habs had better ideas. This is the Habs overhaul, by the way, brought to you by CustomConcessions.net. But I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about, or at least bring you on to discuss, was that trade. Noah Dobson coming back to the Montreal Canadiens. In exchange, the Canadiens gave away 2 first-round picks and then Emil Hyman. I would say this is Heineman. Yeah, Heineman came back. But Dobson does sign a 8-year extension worth $9.5 million. So just as our residents, Habs homer, what was your first kind of reaction to the deal being done?
Definitely a homer, so that is accurate. Yeah, like the first reaction was I'm trying to think back now. It's been a whirlwind few days with the draft and everything, right?
Yes.
So, and they also just made another deal. They just traded Caden Primo as well. So this is like half an hour ago.
I did not see that.
That is pretty fresh, and that's just for a 7th rounder, so not a big deal. But I think we all kind of knew that Primo didn't have a long-term future with the Canadiens, unfortunately. But as far as the Dobson trade, yeah, like it was kind of rumored. I mean, Marco D'Amico is someone that I think a lot of people are starting to follow more because he's really been very accurate lately with his postings on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And the Canadiens had made a formal offer for Noah Dobson. That was reported. And then, Friday afternoon carried on. And then sure enough, boom, there's the deal. And then the massive extension with it. So, not a small amount of change to throw at a guy that Islanders fans have been kind of so in their comments back to me about their feelings of having him in Long Island for many years. But one thing that's clear is that, and I think it's a big starting to become a bigger draw is the Marty St. Louis factor in Montreal, and just playing for a coach like him, a guy who can relate to every player at every level, whether you've been on waivers, whether you've been on the 4th line, a healthy scratch, on the top line, Conn Smythe. I don't know that Marty won the Conn Smythe, but I think he won the Hart Trophy, I'm pretty sure. And he's a Hockey Hall of Famer. He's won the Stanley Cup. He's won gold medal with Team Canada. He's won at every level, right? So every player that the Canadiens acquire now, whether it's a defenseman or a forward or even a goaltender, they can relate to him. And they want to play for him because he knows what it's like from every aspect of putting together a team. So I think that with Dobson coming in now, it really solidifies the right side because, a lot of people still have questions about David Reinbacher and if he's going to be someone that's going to be in the top 4 for a long time with the Canadiens. Was it worth taking him over taking a forward in the 23 draft? I certainly wasn't a fan of it at first. I really wanted a forward, but then, I was also wanting Shane Wright over Slavkovsky. So like, I am realizing how little I know as a fan compared to what the management knows. So that's what keeps me humble. Every single year, I'm pretty much wrong. So the only thing I think I had right was the Patrick Laine trade. I thought we were going to take a swing at him, and they did. Nice. But Noah Dobson's an interesting one because, he's not known for his physical play. Like, when it comes to the playoffs and what the Canadiens really need in order to sustain a long playoff run is they're going to have to withstand, like a lot of teams, everyone's learning this, is that you're going to have to, withstand a beating for 4 rounds if you're going to go all the way, right? But Noah Dobson is a really solid puck mover. They really did their homework on him, Kent Hughes said, before making that deal. I mean, when they're sure of something in Montreal, like Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes, they go for it. They're aggressive, and moving those two first-round picks, along with Emil Heineman, was a pretty decent price, I think, to pay for Noah Dobson. But now on your right side, you've got Noah Dobson, you've got David Reinbacher, Logan Mayhews. We're still wondering if he's going to become a full-time NHLer. You got Alex Carrier still there, and this is all just right shot defensemen. David Savard just retired, right? So there's room. There's really room for Noah Dobson. So to go from David Savard to Noah Dobson is quite the upgrade, right? And David Savard left behind a wealth of wisdom and knowledge to the young defensemen of the Canadians, and even in the rest of the team, right? So the guys that are already there can benefit from that, and I think Noah Dobson's going to fit in really well. His age, with the Caulfields and Suzuki's and Goulies, like these guys are all pretty close to the same age. They're all going to come up together, and I think that he's going to be a really nice complement to the D-core. And as you saw Seth Jones and Aaron Ekblad just do, I mean, having one right shot defenseman in Aaron Ekblad is great. Having two with Seth Jones is even better.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. Yeah, it's definitely not fair. I'm glad you brought up David Savard, though, because that kind of spurred another question, because we are kind of homers on this podcast as well. Do you think David Savard was a better Montreal Blue Jacket than Josh Anderson currently is?
Montreal Blue
Jacket.
Nice.
Well done. I like the creative spin on that. Something, Josh has really been he's had his ups and downs in Montreal, but I think that's a good question. I think from the defensive side of things, like the defensemen on the Canadians really, again, like I just said, they're going to benefit from everything he's leaving behind. He's a Stanley Cup winner. But as far as between the two, I think from an overall perspective, Josh Anderson's going to have the bigger impact and has already. The 2021 Cup run, the improbable, sort of COVID Canadian Division Cup run, that's where it all started for Josh Anderson. Yeah. And teams were calling for him when Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton came on board. And I spoke to Nick Kyprios in an interview, and he confirmed it. He's like, there's lots of calls coming in on Josh. And I think that's when the Canadians realized, like, we want to keep this guy. There's more value to him staying here than there is to trading him. And clearly in this playoff run they just had against Washington, that was the case. I mean, when's the last time you saw a bench brawl, like a one-on-one bench brawl?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's only one thing, but he also had a better season overall offensively and defensively too. They used him on the penalty kill all season. They gave him a bigger role. So I think that he's had the bigger impact than David Savard as a Montreal Blue Jacket.
Yeah, 100%.
Love that.
And with, I guess with these moves too, obviously with Dobson comes expectations, I would think, especially for this team.
Yes.
With how young they are, do you think that they can handle these expectations, as a man who watches the games and, kind of maybe studies the team a lot more than we do? Do you see them being able to handle the expectation of now having to make playoffs, maybe winning another series? Because obviously coming into this year, there wasn't really much of an expectation. If a lot of guys took a step forward, that'd be great. It wasn't necessarily based on if they make the playoffs or not, but they a little bit overachieved. So now is there room for letdown, or do you think they take that next step?
Yeah, I mean, the Dobson deal certainly leaves room for letdown if they don't make it now. So, I mean, then again, like we're in a time frame like where we have some spots to fill. I mean, Christian Dvorak is a UFA, Yoel Armia is a UFA. That's two top 9 guys, right? Well, I mean, Armia was the 4th line guy. He went up and down a lot. Dvorak was with Anderson and Gallagher on a pretty steady line most of the season, and they kind of helped the Canadians make the playoffs. So I think that, if you look at Lane Hudson as a good example of, can he handle it, right? Can he handle coming in, being a rookie, and will everything he does translate at the NHL level? Well, he just answered that question.
Yeah, I'll say.
So that's one example. So I think that he just has the skill and the talent that we're able to, on his own, do that, and be able to make such a difference and contribute as much as he did and win himself Rookie of the Year, win the Calder. But with Dobson, he's coming in with a decent amount of NHL experience, right? He's not coming in as a Lane Hudson or as an Arbor Jack guy or a Jaden Struble, guys that don't have very much NHL experience to be able to look back on and draw from. So I think that Dobson coming in is hopefully going to help elevate the defense core and hopefully elevate expectations at the same time. That's what I hope is, with his cap hit at $9.5 million for 8 years, you better believe that expectations are going to be high on him as an individual player.
Yeah.
So I think if the Canadiens didn't make the playoffs next season, it would definitely be a letdown. But it's also dependent upon who they add in the forward group right now as well.
Absolutely. While we're on Hudson, so do you think that Dobson and Hudson are going to maybe clash a little bit? Because obviously Dobson was the guy on the island, and now Hudson. I don't know. Maybe you want to say he is the guy now, but he's definitely going to be the guy. Could Dobson be like the Devon Taves to Cale Makar of the Lane Hudson situation? Do you pick up what I'm putting down there?
Yeah, I think what the biggest thing that's come out of the last few years with the way the Canadiens have built this team is culture, and how they've tried to establish like a brotherhood amongst each other. And like as a fan, like following them as closely as I do, and as many others do too, you kind of feel that. And I've been fortunate. Like I've had the chance. I actually had the chance to have like a 5-minute conversation with Kent Hughes in person, and meeting Marty a couple times, and just the players too. Like, and actually getting up close, and you only share a moment or two with these guys. It doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things. We don't know each other personally,
right?
But you sort of get a vibe that like these guys genuinely are on the same page. Jeff Gorton too, but with Lane, with Nick Suzuki leading the way too, and like I've never heard of a like just talking about Nick just for a second. This is I've long-winded roundabout answers if you can't tell.
That's okay,
but I get there eventually. But with the way Nick Suzuki approached Kent Hughes at the trade deadline, which we all heard about, how he didn't want Kent Hughes to make any moves, he put it on his shoulders, and Kent Hughes challenged him and said, if you don't want me to trade these guys, you better put this team on your back and make a serious push to the playoffs. And that's what he did. And then they got there. So these guys really in the room, I think they have a really, really good room. And Noah Dobson coming in, I really feel like character matters a lot to the Canadiens and the locker room, the management. So I think that they did their homework on him as a person too, and not just a player. So in terms of Hudson and him clashing, I think fans are going to be more excited to know that like, hey, we got a guy on the right side now that can do some of what Lane Hudson does, being a puck moving defenseman, in transition, getting the puck up to forwards and creating offense quickly. So I think that he's going to be a compliment and not a hindrance by any means to Lane Hudson. I think that they're both going to be excited to have each other as teammates, I would hope, and see what they can do collaboratively. Whether they play together or not, I think doesn't matter. It's more just like you guys both got to be contributing now. And I'd rather them be split up, if anything, maybe, just so that they can just give more on each line and kind of spread the love a bit.
Clashing was probably not the right choice of word, because I think you hit the nail on the head with where I was going with that. Clashing, I don't think was the right choice of word. There's only one puck.
Fair enough.
There's only one puck.
Yeah, there is only one puck. Yeah, that's right. And moving it back and forth faster and more efficiently, if that's what might happen. I mean, you wonder how Dobson might play on the power play, because Hudson's going to be the quarterback, right? So maybe
ice time.
Maybe, yeah. So we'll see, but I think they're going to make it work one way or the other. It's a good problem to have right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's to say you'd rather have it than not. That's for sure.
Right.
And, and you brought up Lane Hudson. He's making $950,000 this year. It might be the best deal literally in the league. We should maybe do an episode of that later in the future. Maybe a Mount Rushmore of best NHL contracts right now. I mean, that might be a good one.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that would be.
It's a classic.
Actually, we'll definitely do that. But I wanted to ask though, because obviously he's due for an extension in the coming months. Hopefully, at least by the end of next year. So, do you see over under? Do you see both of them to combine making over $20 million? I mean, what kind of deal would you say that you would pay Lane Hudson? Is it worth the predicament that you're going to be in, or do they not think they're going to keep Hudson? What would you say?
You're way too early prediction on this.
Yeah. Well, it might not be way too early. I mean, for all we know, after July 1st, I mean, he is eligible to sign an extension. So I think the way the Canadiens have been doing their business, he's going to sign sooner than later. So the way they did Slavkovsky's contract, Gulli, like they didn't wait on these guys, right? And even Cole Caulfield, like Nick Suzuki's contract was ancient. It was signed by Mark Bergevin's regime, I'm pretty sure. So, that's a heck of a discount at this point, right? And Nick Suzuki, these guys want to win, right? Like that's the whole thing. But I think that Lane Hudson, I had this conversation with a subscriber or viewer the other day about where he's going to land in his contract. This is before we got Dobson, by the way.
Yeah.
So you can imagine now what that contract could look like, but it's probably going to be most definitely in the $9 million range. I said it would be between 8 and 9. And here's the thing too, is that in order to acquire Noah Dobson, the Canadiens, I think, had to overpay a bit. And what's interesting in saying that, though, is that other teams were interested, and apparently he left money on the table. So I think it was, I don't know how much money he left on the table, but Noah Dobson wanted to be a Montreal Canadian. Other teams were definitely in on him, though. And I think, though, with Lane Hudson, because he's already here, because they don't have to acquire him via acquisition, I think he'd be willing to maybe even take a bit less than Dobson. Maybe I'm crazy in saying that. I don't know. Because I think now if the salary cap is going up, it wouldn't be a surprise if Lane Hudson signs for around $10 million.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised at all at the same time to see him make about the same or even a bit less. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Lane Hudson, I heard someone say on the radio the other day, this kid would play hockey for $1. Like I actually heard somebody say that, and I'm like, this guy loves hockey so much. He's such a hockey junkie that, like, you wouldn't be surprised if he took less at this point. So I will be thrilled either way to see him get extended, but it would not shock me if he took the same or a bit less. It wouldn't.
No, absolutely. Well, like you said, love of the game. The culture really probably speaks to that love too. To your point, they look for guys that exude those values and all that kind of stuff. But they are projected. The Canadiens are projected currently to be a little over $3.4 million over the cap. So as far as moving into July 1st with the obviously free agent period coming up, is there any moves that you expect this team to make as far as a cap dump or what they could do to maneuver themselves into a better position what they are now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think what's important to remember too is that Carey Price is $10.5 million, which has been placed in LTIR year over year, is going to happen. But you're allowed to be over the cap until training camp starts, right? So, with that in mind, I think that they know that, and they even have told fans that they've hired staff. Like I think it's John Sedgwick, who's the GM of the Laval Rocket now. It's either him or somebody else is specifically looking after the salary cap. So I think they're going to figure that out, but they're obviously over right now, but you're allowed to be. So gotcha. I think they may. It's interesting to think about who they're going to maybe move out, because I think the biggest question mark for me right now, at least someone who's a fan favorite with the Canadiens, is Arber Xhekaj, and he's only got one more year left on his deal. I wonder how much of an attractive piece he is to other teams, because when he was sent down to Laval, not last season, the season before, teams were calling. Like it was on Hockey Night in Canada. We heard Elliot Friedman saying that teams were like, if you're interested in Arber Xhekaj, we are interested in Arber. Like if you're interested in moving him, he had a lot of interest at that point. I don't know with the Canadiens' defensive depth if he has a long-term future with the Canadiens, and that's hard for me to say because I know that offends a lot of Canadiens fans probably. But in terms of how much he brings, like I think the Canadiens want as many complete defensemen as possible. I know that you need what Pierre Maguire calls nuclear deterrence and guys that can help handle the guys that are, your Tom Wilsons of the world, Sam Bennett's of the world. I think you're going to need those players in the playoffs for sure. And I'm not saying that Arber Xhekaj isn't going to be a Montreal Canadian for sure, but in the top 6 on a pretty strong defensive core, I think it's going to be difficult. And there's more guys challenging him every year for a spot. Adam Engstrom comes to mind as someone who's going to make the team in Mike Matheson's place if they don't extend Matheson, which a lot of fans are not Matheson fans these days. But I think that they're going to make room right now as best they can, and I think that'll happen in the coming days and weeks. So I expect that the Kent Hughes to be busy, and I think they're going to make room. Even though they're over the cap right now, I think that when they identify a target, they're very aggressive. They go after it. So I'm not really that concerned in terms of cap space right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, Arbiter is making 1.3 right now. Really, I mean that's a steal too. That's a great deal. Great.
Based on what he brings, though, I mean I think it's pretty fair. He showed this year again being a healthy scratch throughout the first 2 games of the playoffs, even, and then throughout the season as well at times. That he's got to make better reads. He's got to make better decisions on the ice and bring more than just his physical and fighting to. He's got to be a better, well-rounded hockey player, I think, and that's what the Canadiens want from him.
Yeah, 100%. You can never have too many of those guys. You could never, for sure. Now, I'm going to have to ask you about 2 guys here. Maybe a dumber question, maybe a guy more that you probably don't like, and then another guy that I know you love. So we'll start with the negative side. What did the Canadiens do with Patrick Laine this coming offseason? Like, what?
I gotta know. Yeah,
it's such a glaring question because we saw, the playoffs. He's obviously a healthy scratch. He's been up and down ever since he's left Columbus, basically, even maybe Winnipeg. You can go all the way back to those days. Yes. So, just your thoughts on him, real quick.
It's an interesting story with Patty because I actually said that I thought the Canadiens would go after him, and it was the one.
Right, you called your shot.
Yeah, I think I was the one I actually got right, but. He's an interesting story, right? Because second overall behind Austin Matthews. I mean, the guy was like competing with him, who's going to be number 1 at one point. And he's a guy that's fairly one-dimensional. What he does well, though, is the hardest thing to do, and that's score goals, right? So he's still got another year left on his deal at his 8.7 cap hit. Yeah. So it's a big cap hit, but it was a risk the Canadiens were willing to take, and he did help get the Canadiens into the playoffs. Kent Hughes said it himself that the Canadiens don't make the playoffs without Patrick Laine and the goal scoring that he was able to bring. But he did break his finger actually in the playoffs. So that wasn't just a healthy scratch. That was actually an injury. And otherwise, though, when he was in the lineup in the playoffs, there was some questionable decision-making on his behalf. So it's more away from the puck that's the biggest concern with him, of course, and it always has been. He's been kind of a blue line and in player, as some folks say. But I'm really curious what's going to happen with him this season and how he's going to perform knowing that his contract is up. Like, this is it for him in terms of showing your worth to the Canadiens or the next team that's going to take him, right? So 100%. I think there's still more to be desired from him. There always has been. And I think the Canadiens would like to see more consistency out of Patty. And clearly mentally he's in a much better place. I mean, these guys are still human beings at the end of the day. And I think we kind of, dehumanize them a bit sometimes when, from a distance, we just assume that they're just live these rock star lives. And I'm sure they do to an extent. They have the money to show. We know what they make. So I hope for his sake that he has a good season and can help the Canadiens. I just want to see more consistency, I think, out of him. And I saw more like playmaking and passing ability. He's an underrated passer as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that went under noticed a bit.
No, 100%.
Yeah, if you're box score watching, I mean, you get what you get from him, and you figure he's not doing much, right? But he's got a heck of a shot. It's his wrist shot, his release, but it became predictable on the power play near the end of the season. Cole Caulfield is a bit less predictable, I find, as we saw him have his best goal scoring season this year, 37 goals. But with Laine, it's a curious case of, can he do a bit more even when history shows that he hasn't been able to.
Right, 100%. Now, I know this guy, next guy, I know you really love. I was kind of looking through your Twitter feed and everything. How awesome is it to have Ivan Demidov on your team? I mean, it's got to be like you've only gotten like a shot, right? You've only had like a small chaser of what this kid could really do.
This kid is going to be a problem.
Yeah. Oh, 2 points in the first period of his first playoff game. Like, just tell me, like, how great is it going to be a fan of a team that's got Ivan Demidov on it?
Yeah, I had his jersey halfway made before he even got here.
Nice. So, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So when it comes to him, I mean, I'm still like, I still can't believe we have him. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with that, because all the pre-draft shows last year for 2024 with my buddy Shane and I, we're just talking about how we were so not getting him. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't written in the stars. Like, if he fell to us at 5, like, God was shining on the Montreal Canadiens, and I guess maybe he was. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to, like, we all have super, super high expectations of this guy. And I think that fairly deservedly so, based on everything we've seen and heard. And he was Rookie of the Year in the KHL. He did, he broke what was it, Kaprizov's record in the KHL, and even other previous Russian records too. So Expectations are absolutely sky high for Demidov, but it's a player that we've just craved in the Montreal market for a long, long time. I grew up watching Alex Kovalev, and he was a fun player to watch and a very frustrating player to watch at times, kind of like Patrick Laine was or is sometimes.
Yep.
But I think with Demidov, he mentioned having the Mamba mentality, in reference to Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
And that's a big thing to say because Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah.
And I grew up watching Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant too. So to see somebody, say that is a big, set the expectations for himself pretty high, which I like, but we just haven't had that kind of talent in a long time. And that's what had fans so over the top excited. And to the point where they've already, as soon as within the first week, the Canadiens sold $250,000 worth of jerseys.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So just that'll tell you
Crazy.
everything you need to know right there about how excited the fan base is for him. But as a fan myself, it's really, really exciting to know that we have a player like him who could electrify this fan base. I think probably the most since Guy Lafleur did.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a
100%.
name.
So, yeah.
That's a name.
So what feels better, having Demidov on your team or going 3 for 3 on your Tim Hortons hockey picks to get a free coffee?
Okay.
Which one?
Did you see that?
I did. Oh yeah. Trust me, I'm with you. I feel the same way though. Like if I
This
pick goal
guy.
scorers, there's no better thrill to me than picking a first goal scorer. So
That's
to get a free coffee, oh my God, that would be the epitome, right?
Well, I've gotten free coffee for a week, I think twice with the Timmy
Nice.
6, which
Nice.
that is the best feeling.
Hell
for
yeah.
sure.
Hell
But
yeah.
to get all three was, I think I've only done that twice as well, 2 or 3 times maybe.
Yeah.
So they're both, they're both. You know what? That's part of the hockey season. Like there's all the bonus fun things we get to
Yes.
participate in
100%.
throughout the season. That's one of them though, because I wasn't playing the Timmy's picks until someone finally told me. I'm like, why have I not been doing this? Like, what am I doing?
The only thing better in life than coffee is free coffee. I mean, come on, what are we talking about
Yeah.
here? 100%.
I am with you on that, my friend. I am with you.
The
on
mocha,
that.
was it the mocha cafe? It's like the hot chocolate with the coffee. That's a nice little touch. Anyway, we could spend hours on Timmy Hose, but
Part of hockey culture, it sure is.
Yeah,
Tim Hortons
right.
all the way.
Yes.
You mentioned the other fun things that go with hockey season. Do you play fantasy at all, or do you dabble in that at all?
I do actually. My cousin got me into it, and I wasn't into it for a while either. I was a slow starter when it came to fantasy.
Okay.
And then my other work did another onlinepools.com. It's just like a very small market, but we used that one, and that actually my first season I won that pool, which was awesome.
Nice.
But now fantasy, I have been renewing a league with my cousin every year, and that's been fun. I just won that one last year for the first time, where my cousin had to be dethroned because my cousin really had to be dethroned. He was always had the bragging rights for so long, and then he won it again this year, so he redeemed himself. But
Nice.
fantasy is a lot of fun too. I realized that it's a blast, like managing a team. When you're into it and your buddies are into it, and the draft is awesome. Like that's the best part.
Oh,
my cousin, I think the draft day is better than Christmas for him.
Oh
So-
yeah. 100%. Yes.
Yeah,
You're in the right place. Yeah,
Yes.
He definitely sounds like a guy that
So-
would fit right in.
it's
we,
fun. A lot of
we
fun.
need to dabble with maybe a hockey content league or something. We got a couple, obviously with the draft and everything. We had quite a few podcasts. I think that'd be interested maybe doing that. Maybe we should put that together. I
That's
know we
an
got.
idea. I like that.
We got
That's
Commissioner
fun.
Canadaddy over here, so
I'll
I know he'd be
I'll handle it.
itching at the bit for sure. Last 2 questions here, Brock. Did you have anything for Drew before I go?
No,
Because the last 2 I had were kind of dumb. So
Okay, well then, no, I don't have
I love dumb
anything. Yeah, I don't have anything super serious. I think you covered just about anything I could have wondered about. I knew we had to get the line A, so Dalton crossed that bridge. I'll be honest, as a Leafs fan though, hearing this insight from a Habs fan, I can only imagine what you guys are feeling looking in. Like it just looks so fun. Like you hit the nail on the head with the Marty St. Louis culture stuff. Like I'm sure I can't even appreciate that outside looking in. It looks like a good time to be a Habs fan again. And the league is better when the Habs are good. I will die on that hill. I will die.
Respect to you, my friend, because as some of you may know, Dangle really inspired this channel to exist, like my own channel. And I was laughing my head off watching him in the beginning, just like in 2019 when I first really discovered him. And it's fun, man. Like it's supposed to be fun being a hockey fan. And it's appreciated for me. Like I really appreciate when other fan bases can appreciate what it's like to be a Montreal fan, just like the atmosphere at the Bell Center.
Yes.
Visiting fans have said the same thing. Like visiting fans are like, I have goosebumps watching the Canadiens come on the ice because it's just such a special connection the Canadiens have with their fans. And we feel like we help contribute to their success. And I'm sure other fan bases do too, but Mike Camilleri described this in the 2010 playoffs when he said, you literally feel the fans while you're on the ice. Like you just feel the spirit. Like there's something like beyond what we can physically see that's going on.
And there are moments like that all over the place. Saku Koivu just jumps to mind.
Oh yeah.
Like
oh yeah.
Moments like that. They're all over the place in that building. Like it's just, I totally get what you're saying. Absolutely.
It's just really is one of a kind. And to hear Brian Hayes say that, like on Overdrive, like it's a cheat code, that's why the Canes were going to get in and they did. It's just, that's the part I think you're almost most proud of, is that we get to partake in this, like being a fan of this kind of environment where the team has this much love and support. And we are just as critical as well, just like Toronto fans. Right. But then like you have a good game and like we are screaming our heads off, cheering for you all over.
Yeah. We're in. I'm all the way back in. Yeah, let's
That's
go.
right.
Yeah.
I'm all the way back in.
I'm all the way back in.
Oh man. Yeah, you guys are the seventh man. That's gotta be it's gotta be so much fun.
Yes.
100%.
I haven't been to, I gotta be honest with you guys, I haven't been to a playoff game yet, and I had tickets to game 3 of the Washington series when Josh Anderson tumbles. I could have gone to that game. I very well could have gone to that game. I ended up selling them because I just there's reasons for it. Like just I wanted to kind of wait until we were like really like I wanted the Canadiens to have a chance to win that series. I didn't think they had a great chance to win it, but that game, they won that game, and like the high alone just from winning that one game for the first playoff game at home in 8 years with a full building was worth waiting for. And I think it was worth the wait for me to go next season, because that's, if they make it next season, I'm going for sure. So I'm on the waiting list for season tickets actually, and I'm supposed to get a call like any day now. I'm sharing them with a Leafs fan friend, by the way. So
nice.
That's good.
So it's an investment. It's an investment. But it's not like Toronto. I will say that it's a lot cheaper than Toronto, which disappoints me for Leaf fans' sake.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah,
that's another conversation.
Yeah, we could go down the route. A whole other thing.
We could do that someday.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I had the other two questions I had. Are you still on the WWE train? Because I found a tweet that you were buying back in on WrestleMania last year, I believe.
Oh baby.
Yes.
They just had a premium live event. So how's your double WWE kind of monologue going?
It's not great right now. Since they switched Raw to Netflix, like I don't have Netflix, so I'm also not trying to say I was tuning in every Monday night. I grew up in the Attitude Era. I was spoiled rotten, and I still go back and watch all those clips on YouTube. So, still enjoy digging into that stuff. But my buddy Chris and I, we kind of laugh now when we watch wrestling. We just kind of find it funny, like even like things that most people might not. I don't know, but still love watching it when I do. It's still entertaining. Still got a heart for it. Love watching podcasts with Triple H and hearing everything he has to say and all the stories from the past. And I still have a big heart for WWE, but I'm not like a consistent regular viewer. I can't lie.
Yeah, no, it's okay. That's okay. The fair weather fans are just as important as anybody else.
I am probably fair to say that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Well, we appreciate you joining us, Drew. This has been great. The last question is our SeatGeek question. You can download the SeatGeek app and use promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase. So catch a baseball game, maybe. That's about the only thing going on, unfortunately, courtesy of your friends here. I saw that you got to meet Shooter McGavin, or I guess, was it Christopher?
No, his name's Shooter McGavin. Stop.
Okay, sorry. You got to meet Shooter McGavin. So
I think he prefers Shooter over Chris. Yeah,
that would make a ton of sense.
That would definitely, that feels like it fits.
Christopher McDonald is his name.
McDonald, that's right. That's right.
But he's Shooter. He's Shooter.
Yeah.
Yes.
How excited are we for Happy Gilmore 2? Are you on the edge of your seat?
Honestly, like if let me just tell you this really quickly. My two friends from college, we took acting in college, broadcasting and acting.
Nice. Okay.
And we have a group chat between the three of us that is like nicknamed from a Happy Gilmore quote. So
yes,
we have been chomping at the bit, and we've actually gone as far as making plans to like watched the movie in Toronto together, and we haven't seen each other in person in years. And now we're just like, we have the greatest reason ever to get together right now and finally have a reunion between the three. So like, we're fired up, my buddies and I, to do that. And it was just surreal to meet Shooter, because I sent my buddies a personalized video with Shooter naming my friends in them, and like they just couldn't believe it.
Sick.
My buddy was so happy and so sad that he couldn't be there.
Yes.
He's his favorite movie villain of all time. So the trailer looks really good. The two trailers I've seen. Yep. I really hope the movie leaves us feeling good at the end, and that it was worth the wait. That's all I'm hoping for. So
I'm sure.
So excited.
Is the group chat name? Is that the ninth chat at 9? Is that what the name of the chat is?
Ninth chat at 9. Nice.
There's so many names it could be, but it's you know what though? It's so random. Like we all find reasons to quote any small line from that movie at any point in the chat.
God,
so the name of the group chat is "Who You Waving At, Happy?"
Nice.
Okay.
It's Mrs. Gilmore.
Yes. Yeah.
My buddy just threw that name out there, and oh my gosh, is it ever fun to just go back and forth? Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, Brock is our resident Happy Gilmore.
I could do that with you. I could quote that movie all day. I can quote any line almost any day, anytime. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
You belong in the group chat, just saying. But yeah,
that'd be a great name for your fantasy team. Chubb's Other Hand, maybe. Yeah, that would be a good one. That might be a good one.
Nice.
Oh man.
Oh, so good. Son is in the movie or something like that.
I did hear that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. Well,
Carl Weathers, R.I.P. But yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes. It's way too soon. We lose way too many good actors. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, unfortunately. But Drew, we appreciate you joining us again. This has been great. It is in the contract now that any time that we ask you to come on, that you do have to come on between the benches. So we appreciate that as always. You can check out Drew on YouTube at DrewDekes and on X at DrewDekes as well. Drew, thank you again for joining us, and go Habs, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. I had a blast, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, perfect. That was our interview with DrewDekes. Again, shout out to him for joining us. Had some great Montreal Canadiens insight. Better human being. I knew he was going to be one of your best friends when he started mentioning Happy Gilmore, by the way.
Man.
Yeah, so it definitely fits right in. I think we need to start stirring up this hockey league that we teased with him too.
We can poke around there, see if there's something there. Yeah,
I think we had enough people join us for our live stream that I think would be interested in doing a fantasy hockey league like that. And I think the funniest part too is if we do that, we should do it as an organization. So like the three of us, me, you, and Grant,
like the Between the Benches team.
Yes,
nice.
It's our team. Yeah, literally, it's our team. So I think that would be fun. And then you got the hockey princess and the crusty old guy. We got a couple other people we can maybe get involved.
That's
so,
funny. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
We got a whole network we can get involved.
100%. Yeah, we got Old City. Yeah, I know Jesse and Flyers Alley would probably jump in. So absolutely. We'll jump into some of the offseason signings and everything that's coming out today. This is Winning the Offseason. This is brought to you by decalsbyaaron.com. So make sure to check out the decalsbyaaron.com. But we'll start with the draft side of things. Obviously, the draft, wrapped up on Saturday, right? Because they did Friday, Saturday.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Brock, did you have any big takeaways on draft winners? Who won draft weekend this weekend?
Well, before I give you anything, I want to qualify this. This is winners of the offseason as of June 30th. So let's not have somebody listen to this in like August and there's been like trades and more signings. And let's just maybe, qualify this a little bit. But I think my big winner is easy. They had the first overall pick. I think they hit the ball like out of the park on their two later picks. I believe Eklund and Atchison, right? I believe those were the other two. But when you get, the first overall pick and you have two mid-round picks and one Eklund, I couldn't believe fell to where he did. That's absolutely wild to me. And yeah, I just don't see how you could do much better. I think they did well in the Dobson trade. I think that trade makes a lot of sense for both teams. The Islanders retooling the Montreal Canadiens. Well, you just heard us talk about the Montreal Canadiens for X amount of time. So yeah, I think the Islanders are the easy pick here. What do you think?
No, 100%. And the nice gesture with Schaefer with the ribbon on his jersey. I don't know if
how do I forget that? Oh my God.
His mom had passed away and they put the cancer ribbon on there, and that was a nice gesture.
Her initials, yes.
Yeah, you definitely tell it's going to be his home for quite a while. That's the kind of thing, like just the the culture that even like Drew was talking about with the Canadians. Like that's just the little culture things that you like to see with the
Yes.
organization.
Yes.
But one of the winners I had was the St. Louis Blues. I thought getting Justin Carbonneau, in the first round at pick number 19, like they did, he scored 46 goals last season. He was one of the top goal scorers in this draft. And I think St. Louis fills a need that they will desperately have to fill in a couple of years. And to get Justin Carbonneau with the 19th overall pick, I think looking back in 2 years, we're going to be like, how in the world did he fall to 19? So that was one of the draft winners I had. Okay. Did you have another one for us?
Oh my God. Higgins, I was touting, was getting wildly underrated because of maybe his size and the maybe quote unquote lackluster season he just had for what people were expecting for him going into this year. So for my winner here at the draft is Boston. Getting him at 7 is just crazy. And as a Leafs fan, man, fuck the Bruins. God damn it. Like it's just oh my God. I'm gonna hate this kid in like 10 years. Yeah. Oh my God. Probably like 4 or 5 years, honestly.
No, I was gonna say not even 10. It's gonna be shorter than that. Yeah. Oh man. No, they definitely had a good draft. Lucked out there in the first round with Higgins. And another team that lucked out, I thought, was the Capitals. They had Lyndon Lakovic. Is it Lakovic, by the way? Did we ever confirm?
We never confirmed that. No, I need to get on that. That's my thing.
We'll keep those a running bit. But he had 58 points in 47 games, 1.23 points per game. He's 6'4". He's $190. He's got room to grow into that frame as well. But with the 27th overall pick, I can't believe he fell that far. We were doing our live stream kind of saying the same thing, like, what is going on here? And even Graham, I think, had mentioned that he was, rumored to be falling. But to go all the way to 27 just feels like fate too. The Middle Eastern players going to – it's like we've seen this story before. Obviously, now he's not number one overall, but – yeah, I mean, that size, that stature, his ability, I just feel like this is a home run for the Capitals.
Absolutely.
So, and then the last winner I had, obviously the 10th overall pick was Roger McQueen.
Oh, yes.
His ass got to go to Disneyland, like literally right after they drafted him, which like I think the famous meme that's going on is like the Buffalo Sabres guy gets picked. It was the defenseman. I can't remember his name.
Yes, Murtka.
Yeah, that's right. The guy in the Czech Republic. And it was like, he's like dead staring at the camera. And then there's Roger McQueen, like thumbs up, hanging out with Donald Duck. Like, it's just like, he got to meet Lightning McQueen too, which I was just like, oh my God, like how does this guy not win draft night? Like how much fun was that? And just great PR. Way to have that all played.
Did you mention what number he chose too? Let's throw that in there.
No, what number did he choose?
95 for Lightning McQueen.
Nice. Okay, there it is.
Just fun stuff. Just fun stuff.
Oh man. Wow. And Owen Wilson would love that, I'm sure. Oh man. Well, on the other side of draft winners, we also have draft losers, Brock. So who did you see as one of the big draft losers this year?
I hate to do it, but upon reflection, I don't like the Jackets draft. Like I could still be convinced about the defenseman they took. I'm drawing blank on his name as I say this, but the goalie at 20. Oh man. The Jackets have a history of, like the Chinnikov pick, and that, it wasn't a home run, but you don't necessarily need a home run at 21. You find a guy that can play in your middle six, top six in a pinch, and that's good stuff. And I'm talking about Chinnikov here. But goalies just so rarely pan out when, they're highly scouted. Like Wallstead went, I believe, at 21 3 years ago. And he suffered a setback last year in the Minnesota system, and they notoriously, pump out good goalies. So I don't know. To me, I feel like the Jackets probably could have and should have done a lot better. I was still kind of suspect about that defensive pick at 14, but it's a player that's probably not going to be in their lineup for a while, so I'm not going to quibble too much over it. But I'm going to say that they weren't, a winner, and I don't really think they made out average. I think with that goalie pick, that's a lot of randomness that I don't like, and I'll leave it there. How about you?
Yeah, definitely see it. Well, it definitely just seems to be the other part too. Like I said, Florida is really showing us that like you should build the team and then pay for the goalie. That just seems to be the way to go about it. Like
it's hard to argue that.
Like literally build the team by the goalie, because like you said, goalies are voodoo. You say this all the time. They're just so unpredictable, and just like you'd rather just pay for one that you know what you're going to get. Like it's worth the money at the end of the day to have Bob, even though he's going to cost you $10 million. He's going to be rock steady back there, and you can count on him. So. One of the other losers you had down here too that I liked was the Seattle Kraken. Obviously, Burakovsky, is out the door. He's heading to Chicago, and Freddie Gaudreau, Marchment. It just feels like a lot of their guys all do the same. Like it's just a big collective group of middle six wingers. That's literally all it is. Or just second line wingers, not even like middle.
Not
six
even,
guys.
yeah. Like it's just
like 4, 5, and 6 guys. Literally, not
Yeah.
even a 1, 2, or 3. So, yeah, definitely just. They couldn't really find their superstar, their diamond in the rough, and I feel like they've just needed a tank for a while. They're going to have arguably the worst goalie situation moving forward.
Well, Joey Decord's fine. It's Grubauer that's the
Grubauer.
massive,
Yeah, I was going to say it's the tick
Swiss
on
cheese, on the wall.
just the leech sucking the life out of your cap right now. Yeah, which is usually to pay extra for that, but you're paying a lot extra for him to do that for this team. So.
Nice.
But yeah, those are kind of the big losers we had from the draft night. Now we are moving into that signing period or signing window. We're signing extensions, trading players, everything else. So who do you see as one of your signing winners so far?
Well, let's just jump right into this. Like the Florida fucking Panthers, man. I'm going to do my best to stay composed right now because
the band is back.
Today has been the day from hell if you are a Leafs and Jackets fan. Like, nothing has gone well. We'll get to the Jackets portion of this, but I'm going to stick to the friggin' Florida part here. They got Marchand, Ekblad, and Bennett all back. All on absolute sweetheart contracts. I don't know what else to say. Like I said, I'm trying to not sound apathetic. I don't think it's working very well. I have no words. The meme that jumped into my head was like they can't keep getting away with this. Like the meme has been like running like a hamster wheel in my head, like just on loop. Like this is, oh my god. I don't know what else to say.
Do you know what who's the real winner of those? Now I just thought about this. The real winner of those extensions are the people that argue that the Panthers aren't a dynasty, because if they were actually a dynasty, they wouldn't feel the pressure to re-sign deals to stay together to then become a dynasty. So in my mind, that's who really wins with these signings. The crowd that doesn't believe that the Panthers are not a dynasty yet, because they're proving me right. I couldn't agree more, Brock. I think this is a big win for me because this proves to me that the Panthers aren't a dynasty yet. If they win the third one, they're a dynasty.
SYBAU. Yes. Get out of here. Get all the way out of here.
But yeah, it's pretty incredible. They kept their guys together. The band is staying together. They're going to go for their third straight cup. But obviously Vegas is the other big news today. So we'll start there as well. We'll jump into that. So Mitch Marner is expected to sign a 8-year, $96 million contract with an average annual value of $12 million to the Las Vegas Golden Knights from the Toronto Maple Leafs. The exchange, or like what Toronto will receive in return, has not been announced yet, unless you have anything on your end.
It is believed Nick Waugh. That is the
Nick Waugh.
I have not seen. That's it, bro. That is better than nothing. Okay. They got that done on like the eve of when you lose him 100% for nothing. I will take something. I will take that.
Well, there it is. Nice. Well, yeah. So Mitch Marner is going to be a Golden Knight.
Oh, I mean, that is a $12 million 8-year contract. $12 million per year, 8 years.
Yeah.
We didn't do the forward contracts, but we can.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So they were just to recap too. Aaron Ekblad was an 8-year, $6 million. Marchand was 6 years at $32 million, and then Bennett was an 8-year at $64 million. So. Just smells like a three-peat. So,
boy.
Did you have another winner from your signings?
We had a couple. Well, the Tavares signing has to be mentioned here. Like, I like the Nyes deal too. Like, we can couple that together here. Nyes signing 8 years at 7.75 per, and then Tavares at 4 years at 4.433 per, or something to that effect.
4.38.
3.8. Like that Tavares deal. Like I was of the mind back when the Leafs lost, and it's well documented that you had to make the massive change. Marner had to go, and I believe Tavares had to go. And I'm of the belief that even I would try to be trading Riley right now, but it's looking like that's not going to happen. But to bring him back at quite literally half of his market value, I cannot bring myself to be mad at that. The guy scored 38 goals last year. I just cannot bring myself to be mad at it. It's great value. It's a great contract, and I'm welcome back, Mr. Tavares. I
Yeah,
guess.
definitely a good deal. Definitely a good deal there. Also, another big news today. Well, I don't know about big news, but Minnesota also got Vladimir Tarasenko for future considerations from the Red Wings. So I thought that was pretty good. And then also another win that I thought was the Red Wings getting John Gibson
Yes.
as their number one goalie. So I think they gave up 2 picks and a player in that deal.
Something to that effect, yeah.
But finally, the Red Wings can have a goalie, so now Steve Yzerman can finally blame himself when they don't make the playoffs. So congratulations to Steve Yzerman. And then the other one I had written down here was Andrei Kuzmenko is going back to the Kings on a 1-year, $4.3 million deal. Thought that was pretty good value for what he could. He could be a 30, 40 goal scorer if given the opportunity to do so.
Yep. I will mention this before we jump into the losers. The Jets officially signing Taves tomorrow. That's going to be fun. Very, very happy for the guy.
I don't think blue's his color. I just don't. I don't know if that's like the Chicago homerness in me.
That's 100% what that is. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's 100%.
Gotcha. I'm becoming one of them, which is fine. That's fine.
That's
anyway,
fine. Yes, that's fine.
Speaking of losers, let's talk about the
Nice.
the signing losers of this period so far. Throw one at me. What you got?
Okay, I hinted at it earlier. I'll just dive in with it. The Jackets with the Provorov deal, 8 by what was it, 8.5 or something to that effect. Like, I cannot believe this logic. Like, I was a defender of you couldn't trade him at the deadline for the logic of the boys had just done too much work. They had put too much effort into where they were in the standings. They were in a playoff spot, I believe, at the time of the deadline. And I could not bring myself to justify trading him. And then they go and do this. Like, I'm fine. 8, I was right. 8 by 8.5. So what is the logic here? Why? I'm okay with bringing him back, but in what world is he worth 8 years for mediocrity at best? He's eventually going to be on your third pair. I'd argue he's on your third pair within a year or two, maybe 3. And then what are we doing? Like, man, what are your fancy fucking numbers telling me that I don't see? The public data is not the same as the private data. I don't know what the fuck your numbers are telling you, but I don't see it. He hasn't passed the eye test either. So I don't understand. Make it make sense. Now I'm
definitely seems
I'm
like
devolving. I'm devolving.
It definitely does seem like a little bit of an overpay for sure. It's like you said, 8.5 for a guy that's probably going to be on the third pair. That goes all the way till 29-30. So even his UFA year is 2031, by the way. So it's definitely an interesting decision. Unless they wanted to maybe buy the window of trading him, I don't know. Maybe that's what they're looking at here. They got him, but I don't know who wants to pay Provorov $8.5 million to play defense for him right now. Anyway,
oh, it's not 8 years; it's 7 years. Okay.
That's he's 28 years old. He'll be 35 at the end of that contract. So just to keep that in mind too. So. One of the other losers I had, I did have the Avalanche. I just thought trading away Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood for Gavin Brindley, what turned out to be Francisco, Delisi? I don't know, something along those lines. He was the 77th pick overall. And then the second round pick in 2027. It just didn't seem like the greatest return. I thought, Charlie Coyle, also obviously being on a third line center for that team, would be really good value for them. Miles Wood has been a decent player. I mean, he's nothing to write home about, but I think, for Columbus to gain 2 players and not really give up anything but, Magic Beans and maybe Gavin Brindley is maybe a little bit of a loss. But so I feel like the Avs they're trying to make moves from obviously getting beat in the first round and make some changes, but I don't know if they're clearing cap space or what the deal is here.
I will say this while we're still on the subject, because they did trade with the Jackets. That trade for Provorov has no trade protection that I can see. So you can theoretically move it whenever the hell you want with no limitations. So that's not nothing. And that would be the only positive thing that I can fucking find when it comes to this contract. But yes, to your point about Colorado, I guess I think that they thought there was going to be less fireworks today and they'd have access to more players tomorrow. Now tomorrow is going to be a bit, I don't want to say vanilla, but it's not going to be as like tonight where the fireworks fucking flew. And I think they were banking on maybe having access to a few more players, like maybe, heaven forbid, Marchand. Like there's links to McKinnon there. I don't know. Like that's not nothing. maybe they were banking on something like that. So if that was their plan, how do they pivot? You got to have a plan B, and maybe tomorrow we start to see what plan B looks like. And I always say this: I don't get paid. You get paid to make these fucking creative decisions. Go get creative, make some trades, have some fun, deal from your I don't care where, figure it out.
100%. And then the other loser we had was the Oilers with Bouchard. So very similar cap percentage as when Makar signed his deal, but 2 years less term.
I did when I wrote that I hadn't accounted for the fact that he had already signed a second contract. This is his third contract, so he was actually a little bit less than Makar. Not a little bit, a lot less than Makar would have been because Makar was on a 6-year deal. So this is actually probably more fair than I initially gave credit for. I still think it's probably a touch much for what he brings defensively, but then you go look at his playoff numbers, and it's oh boy, he is a stud in the playoffs. He's like shattering records. Like it's absolute insanity. So no, I still don't care for it, but I'm not as harsh on it as I initially thought.
Yeah, you talk about leeches. That Darnell Nurse contract, that's a salary cap.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yep, that's a whole other thing.
God, talk about a Philip Grubauer, am I right? Jeez.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's right up there.
Fair enough. Well, we will continue to see the fireworks fly, as you put it. I like that. And we'll definitely see some excitement moving forward throughout this free agency period. And we'll be sure to bring you those signings here on Between the Benches. But we will stay with the negative mindset, unfortunately. We do have to get negative. It's time to get in the bin. This is brought to you by WarlordBeardOil.com. Make sure to check out WarlordBeardOil.com and use the promo code OLDSports for 15% off. That's OLDE Sports for 15% off beard oils, washes, soaps, and more. And any order over $65 will get you free shipping. So make sure to check out our friends at Warlord Beard Oil. So, Brock, who you got in the bin this week?
I usually do this for the C, but this is the easiest bin I think is humanly possible. Anyone that watched the first round of the NHL draft knows exactly what sentiment I'm feeling right now. They have to figure this out, man. We were 4.5 hours with the draft, almost 5 hours with our stream. That is absolutely obnoxious and unacceptable. That cannot happen again. They cannot do decentralized. You've got to do a hybrid of some kind, but you got to find a way to get it to like 2.5-ish hours, give or take 15, 20 minutes. Like it can't be more than 3. Like 3 for me is already ridiculous. You got to find a way to bring it down. I was
at that point it's longer than a game, you know?
That's what I mean. Like Jesus Christ, guys. It's 32 picks, and I get you want to make it special. I get that it's a big deal, but my God, it can be special in a fucking quicker amount of time. Jesus Christ.
Just we know you're special. Just be quick about it. That's so
funny. Like I'm not trying to be like mean, but Jesus H.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Carolina, like I said, Carolina took like 15 minutes to trade their pick.
If you haven't seen the James Higgins going into that little interview room and the technical difficulties with the Boston management group, I was literally like, oh God, thanks for picking me. Like it's just cringy, really cringy stuff. And there's moments like that throughout the entire draft. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. It was definitely tough, especially those people that use standing desks when we're doing live shows to be there for 5 hours. That's tough. Hearts go out to them. But thank you again to everybody that joined us. That was a great time.
Yes.
Having all of our guests join us.
That was very fun.
My bin this week, I think I had 2. I'll start with one that we already kind of talked about earlier. Emil Heineman, right?
Yep. You got it.
Nice. Got it right. Like you see, he's mentioned earlier in the show with the Montreal segment. We'll shout out again to DrewDekes for that. But did you know he has been traded for the following players? He has been involved in a Sam Bennett deal, a Tyler Toffoli deal, and now he's been traded for Noah Dobson. So when the Flames acquired, when he was included in the Bennett deal, the deal was Heineman, a second-round pick for Bennett, and a 6th-round pick that sent Heineman to the Flames. The Flames turned around and shipped Heineman, Tyler Pitlick, a conditional 1st round, and a 5th-rounder for Tyler Toffoli to the Canadiens. And then the Canadiens turn around and deal him, including 2 first-round picks for Noah Dobson. So this man has been traded for 3 really good players.
That is that would make you maybe think that he's a good player, but
Right? Yeah,
I
you would
mean,
think.
he's okay. He's not bad. Like,
Yeah, he's like the ugly
Oh.
step kid, kind of. That's what it feels like.
mm,
You know, like they love him, but they don't love him enough. You know,
Little bit.
he's like like they like him, but they just don't love him. He's just not the one. You know what I mean? They fall in like with Emil Heineman.
I know what you mean.
So yeah.
I'm
And then the
sensing
other
some
bin,
personal relation there with you.
yeah, I love a good Heineman. Anyway, and then we have the NHL paydays. NHL paydays are in the bin, Brock, because did you know the top 4 earners on OnlyFans? That includes Iggy Azalea, Bad Barbie, Sophie Rain, and Bella Throne all made more money combined. They made $150.3 million combined, and that is more than the top 5 earners in the NHL this past season at $62 million combined. So those 4 women made more money combined than our Timmy Panarin, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKenna, and Elias Pettersson all made together.
Jesus.
Yeah. Insane. Those 4 women on OnlyFans made more money. I'd double that money. Almost double and a half what the top 5 NHL players have made. So, yeah.
Well, if anything, that just goes to show how hard it is for men, you know? Like, we just really struggle in the workforce, you know? Like,
yeah. Just the power of boobs is what I've learned. Is all I've learned from that segment.
That's a stat. Oh,
yeah.
my
I couldn't believe that when I read it. I was like, wow, we're in the wrong business. That's what I'm saying.
Don't believe it. No
Yeah,
shit.
I can't believe you don't do more shows without your shirt on. Maybe that'll get our ratings up.
I doubt it would have that effect. I sincerely do. I sincerely
You like
do.
that side boob? Because that's my side boob.
Because that's my side. Nice.
Anyway, well, that was brought to you. That was In the Bin, brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Make sure to check out our friends at warlordbeardoil.com. Use that promo code OldSports for 15% off, and you get free shipping for orders of $65 or more. So check them out. They're a great sponsor. They always help us out. They get us ready. They get us primed. And Brock's, mustache going. So will we get positive? We will end this on the high note, as we always do. Hope Graham is feeling better, by the way.
I hope so too.
He's just sticking it out. So, but we're going to hand out the C, and getting the C is brought to you by SeatGeek. Make sure to download the SeatGeek app. Use the promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase. Check out a baseball game, maybe WNBA. Ayo, a little Sky action. Anyway, brought to you by our friends at SeatGeek. Brock, who are you giving your C to this week?
I'm going to give it to Simon Wang. Forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce
Nice.
his Chinese name, but he became the highest selected player born in China in the NHL history, 33rd overall. Also became the 3rd Chinese-born player drafted in the NHL, joining Kevin He in 2024 and Adong Song in 2015. So congratulations, Simon Wang. You get the C. Very well earned. Congratulations. Enjoy your moment.
Yeah, breaking boundaries. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. So,
Hey!
Hell yeah. Hey, so I had 2 C's. The first C I'm going to give out is to the Abbotsford Canucks. They are the Calder Cup champions. They defeated the Charlotte Checkers, I believe, in 6 games. So shout out to them. The funny thing is, Brock, I don't know if you knew this or not, but the Canucks finished the season with 5 regulation losses in their last 40 games. They ended this regular season. They ended the regular season on a 16-1-1 run. They went 15-7 in the playoffs, and overall they were 31-5-4 in their last 40 games of this regular season.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so just absolute dominance. She Loves was great obviously in the all Calder Cup playoffs.
I don't even know what to say about that. Like, that's fucking nutty. Holy
That's
shit!
pretty good. That is pretty good.
Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, that's really good.
That's unbelievable.
And then the other C I wanted to give out, this is my lesser C, and you'll see why. But I wanted to give it to Canada. So for the first time in history, the reigning NBA, NHL, and MLB finals and playoffs MVPs are all Canadian. Can you name them for me?
Well,
Can you name those 3 gentlemen?
Sam Bennett's the free square.
Okay. And your Canadian pride and nationality is on the line here.
Okay. I don't watch any of the
We're
other
going to know
sports.
you're a fake Canadian if you can't answer this question.
Oh.
It's got everything to do with country pride.
So basketball, let's try. Which team won again? The Pacers?
The Thunder.
No, the Thunder. Oh, that doesn't help me.
Yeah. He's like a nickname is 3 letters. Like that's his name.
Bro,
is
I
blank,
don't
blank,
know
blank.
anything about the other sports.
Okay.
Like you're gonna have to give me
well,
like
MLB
really
you should know too. MLB, the same thing with his is the initials are the same. The
you're
first
gonna have
letter
to-
in his.
You got to give me something like really obvious because
Oh,
I'll know the
man.
name if I hear it, but I'm not gonna think of it.
Okay,
But
well,
I'll know these players.
the NBA is Shea Gildress Alexander.
Would not have.
So,
known
and then
that.
the
Wait,
MLB,
SGA, right? Or
yes,
SGA. Okay,
Yeah.
no, okay. So I have
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, you've definitely heard. And then the MLB Finals or playoffs MVP, he plays for the Dodgers.
Obviously,
He's like the most famous
Shohei Ohtani.
Canadian player. No, okay, yeah, well, it's Freddie Freeman. Brock is Freddie
I
Freeman. Hit the
do know his
walk-off
name.
home run.
I know his
Yeah.
name.
Anyway, but yeah,
And
they're
then,
all.
what was the other one? We did.
That was it.
basketball.
Just those three. It was
Basketball.
the NBA, NHL, and MLB finals / playoffs MVPs.
That's right, because no one plays, football from Canada.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think there are Canadians in the NFL. They're just not.
Are they? Really?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are. There have to be.
Cool.
I'm sure you can Google it while we're talking, and you can maybe let me know. But that was
yeah, I'll let you. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. That was Getting the C, brought to you by SeatGeek. Make sure to download the SeatGeek app and use the promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase. Catch a baseball game, WNBA game, whatever kind of sporting events going on where you are, courtesy of your friends here at Between the Benches. Like I said, use that promo code Old City Sports for $20 off your first purchase. Thanks to our friends at SeatGeek, Old City Sports Network.
There's a lot of NFL players from Canada.
I figured there were.
I really wish that I knew if they were good, but I mean, I don't. It's a long enough list. I'm not going to name like all of them.
Fair
like,
enough. Yeah.
I
and
wish
you
I
can't
knew.
tell me. You can't even like a notable one for me either.
No, like I don't recognize any of them at all. Like
there it is.
They got some cool names though, like Alaric Jackson, Chuba Hubbard. That's a fun name.
Oh, Chuba Hubbard, yeah.
Chuba Hubbard? Chuba Hubbard sounds way better.
Sounds like the bubble gum, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Oh man, well, fair enough. Well, yeah, we'll do some deep diving in that. We'll bring it up on the next episode. But
for sure.
From myself, Dak, everybody here, all the stats department, the producers, everything on the back end, we appreciate those hardworking folks. From Big Canada Daddy, myself, we appreciate you tuning in. We are the Between the Benches podcast. Make sure to check us out on social media, everything from YouTube to TikTok to Instagram, everything in between. Check out the merch store. Everybody gets free shipping on that. And we will hope to catch you next time. And that concludes this week's episode of Between the Benches. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and check us out on YouTube. Also hit the like and subscribe button and look out for the next episode. Until next week, your Harley Riders.
Doc, what a fitting ending! This is incredible!